Newsworld is proudly brought to you by Canon.
Good evening, everyone. Melbourne's international and domestic air services were in chaos today over a snap dispute involving refuelers. International flights were cancelled and up to 30 domestic services were scrapped. Many other flights were also delayed. Lena Kaniva was at the airport during the confusion.
For Qantas, it was the second day of industrial action. Today it cancelled all its flights, stranding more than 1,000 passengers. Singapore Airlines and British Airways cancelled its flights, but tried to divert passengers to Sydney to link with other international flights. But the passengers looked far from happy. Many had been in the terminal since the early hours of the morning, waiting for news on the dispute. Today's long queues and the seemingly endless wait does little for customer relations, but this dispute between the TWU and the oil companies has just left the airlines as the meat in a sandwich. About 60 refuelers, members of the Transport Workers Union, are in dispute with the oil companies Shell, Mobil and Esso. The union stopped work at midnight over manning levels required for new refuelling plans. Late this afternoon, the unions and the oil companies were called to a compulsory hearing in the Arbitration Commission. A short time ago, the Commission hearing broke up without resolution. However, the unions will meet at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning to consider a recommendation for settlement from Commissioner Turbot. In the meantime, air services in at least 2 states will remain in chaos.
The federal government intends cutting the workforce at the Williamstown Naval Dockyard and the government aircraft factories in Melbourne. The government has not, however, said how many jobs are going to go, but our Canberra office says the number will run into hundreds.
Said the workforce at the Williamstown Dockyard was too large for its current workload. Williamstown is building 2 guided missile frigates which will provide work until the early 1990s. Mr Beasley said a trimmer workforce at the dockyard at all levels